Divine Mercy Radio Catholic 540 AM is proud to present Come to Me, Encounters with the Eucharist, a local program that shares the stories of people who have been drawn to or deepen their faith in the Catholic Church by encountering Jesus in the Eucharist. Welcome your host of Come to Me, Lydia Tatum.
Thank you for joining us for this month's episode of Come to Me, Encounters with the Eucharist, where we will hear another inspiring story of encounter as Jesus continues to call each of us to meet him in the Eucharist. In the Eucharist, we are called to new life. We are nurtured by his grace, and as St. John Damascene says, we are inflamed in order that we might be united in communion with Christ and with one another. On this episode of Come to Me, we will hear how Jesus in the Eucharist beckons us to unity in the Church. This episode, we are joined by Staci Nichols, a longtime friend, actually the first friend that I had at St. Luke's when I first came into the church. She has been a parishioner there for almost 20 years. She has 4 wonderful, beautiful adult children, which is really hard to say with the baby. Yes. I guess we should have done this in reverse order. One wonderful husband, Tim, and she is our Saturday night cantor extraordinaire at St. Luke's. She's a longtime volunteer here at Divine Mercy Radio, and for me, this is the best part. She is the producer of Come to Me, and that means that Staci fields all of our questions, all of our schedules, trying to herd cats and get us all in the studio at the same time. And jokingly, I like to refer to her as my emotional support Staci because I like her in the studio with us when we are recording. So welcome, Staci. I'm so glad that we get to do this today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, Lydia.
Yeah,
hopefully this will be a funny, lighthearted interview.
Lighthearted interview. It will be lighthearted, but really how this came to be was we were looking for some good stories. And Staci, right before we started, you suggested something that I think is fantastic. I want to say it at the top of the show and at the end of the show, is that we are always looking for stories of encounter because they don't just inspire us, the people who are interested in this show, but they inspire Catholics whose faith has grown lukewarm.
True.
Catholics whose faith has gone dry completely. It inspires us to hear how Jesus is calling uniquely to each person, and how those journeys towards the Eucharist have converged. It kind of brings up biblical imagery to me. You know, in the Old Testament, sure, 3 times a year, every Jewish man had to make their journey to the temple in Jerusalem. And that's us. We're making our journey towards Jesus, and we're coming from all over the world in all different spaces. Absolutely. And so if you know anyone or you yourself have a great conversion story, a story of where you have encountered Jesus in the Eucharist, and it has inspired a deep and abiding renewal of faith in you, we want to hear it. So reach out to us. I'm going to say it at the top of the show and at the end. Reach out to us at info@DivineMercyRadio.org because we want to hear your story. And Staci will follow up with you.
Yes, I will.
She, too, can be your emotional support, Staci. And she will follow up with you and get you in the studio because we would love to hear your story. Before we got started, I was telling Staci I was going to introduce her. And I learned something new about you, Staci, and I want you to tell us. I knew this little piece. I want you to tell us, since you are our cantor extraordinaire, how it all got started. Where did you start singing? Start as a kid. Tell us that. But then tell us the fun part about your gig at Macaroni Grill, because we all want to hear about that.
Okay. I started singing when I was 4. Mm-hmm. Both my parents were singers in the choir, and Protestant growing up, and it just kind of was my thing. Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm. It was really all God. It was a God-given talent, and I still use it as a cantor. But I was on tour buses. I toured during the spring and the summer with a small group with my college. And when I was in high school, I did the same thing. Mm-hmm. So it's been a part of my life for a long time. And Macaroni Grill was opening up in Cary. Mm-hmm. And yes, this is dating me. And I went in for an interview. And if you've ever been to the Macaroni Grill, I don't even know if they're any around anymore, but there was always a singer that would walk around and sing a lot. They would sing operatic pieces. And then if it was somebody's anniversary or birthday, anyway, I auditioned in this little trailer. And there were probably 12 other people in there filling out applications. And he's like, okay, sing for me. And I'm like, what? Right here, right now? And he's like, yeah, right here, right now. So I did. And of course, but at the end, everybody clapped for me. It made me feel really good. I was like,
that is
oh my
nice.
gosh. But I loved that job. I loved making people laugh. It was so fun to watch people's faces when you would sing to them.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that gig a lot. So.
Yeah. So why did they laugh at you, Staci?
Not laugh. Okay. So I did this thing with the napkin.
Uh-huh.
And I would make the people who were getting sung to, this is mostly for birthdays, not for anniversaries, but birthdays, stand on the chair, and they had to wing the towel over their head while I sang to them. If they stopped winging the towel, I started all over again. And of course, all the friends thought it was great. The person being sung to, not so much, but that's why they laughed. So
that is a mortifying experience.
it was so fun. I'm just going to tell you.
Oh my goodness. It was fun only to you.
No, it was fun. It was only not fun.
It
to
was
the person who
only
getting
not
sung
fun to the person who was getting sung to.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Yes,
It was fun.
that sounds mortifying. But the thing that I learned about you was that you went to college for vocal performance.
I did. I went to a small Christian liberal arts college outside of Chicago, Deerfield, Illinois, and studied vocal performance and was looking at possibly a future in the church.
Mm-hmm.
I was convinced that I was going to be a music minister's wife because I could sing. And I really thought that's what God was calling me to do because I just felt like it was a gift I needed to use somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And what better way as a Protestant than to be a music minister's wife? That, thankfully, did not work out.
Well, great segue, Staci. Why didn't it work out?
Well, that is a whole different story in that, that was not the direction God wanted me to go in.
Mm-hmm.
And as a Protestant, I realized this. So I ended up in Nashville pursuing a career in music.
Mm-hmm.
After 3 years of nothing happening, I decided that wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't want to sit around for 13 years and turn around, or 20 years and turn around and go, what did I do? Because this is not my calling. My calling was to be a mother. Mm-hmm. And I wanted that desperately. And I realized that staying in that situation was not what God was calling me to do. And that I needed to walk away from it and move on. Mm-hmm. So I ended up in Raleigh because I had a brother that was living here at the time. And we were a part of a group. You guys, this is another one that's dating me. We were in business with each other, my brother and myself, through the Amway business. Mm-hmm. And I met all these amazing people, and they were Catholic. And but they were like my really good friends. And one of those very good friends I was very interested in, other than a friendship. Mm-hmm. So we were hanging out and enjoying each other's company. And then we started dating. And then I was convinced that he had only been Catholic for 2 years when we started dating. And so my ignorant little naive brain thought, oh, I will convert him back. And that was where my thinking was. So I started studying the Catholic Church. And the more I studied, the more I said, well, I agree with that. So backing up, as a Protestant, I never questioned what I believed. Mm-hmm. I always understood to my ability what the Trinity was, and that Christ came to us to redeem us of our sins through a virgin. Mm-hmm. And I never had a problem with those big things that people have a problem with because I already believed him. I had lived them. And I did try to make my life decisions based on what I knew God wanted me to do. Now, I didn't always do that, but that's because we're broken people and we're not perfect. Thankfully, God is there for us, however. So one of the things that I thought growing up was, why do we use artificial contraception?
Yeah.
And it always bothers me. I had to take it for a medical situation, and it bothered me in the fact that I was taking this medication. However, I was not obviously sexually active at that point, but it still bothered me that I'm like, why are we putting this blockage? It doesn't make sense to me.
It feels like you're playing God.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah, I'm okay to give you every part of my life except this one. That is really, honestly, the biggest thing in our life, because we're creating life. And I never had a good feeling about that. So when I came to study in the Catholic Church, they're like, yeah, we do not believe in artificial contraception. And I was like, wow, okay, I agree with that. And then I would pick up another point and be like, oh, I agree with that too. And it was this whole laundry list of things that I kind of went through my head and kind of checked off. And it got down to Mary.
I knew you were going to say
As
that.
Protestants, that's where we always go. And it was a misunderstanding because as a Protestant, I was taught that Catholics were a cult. They worshiped Mary. They worshiped the saints. And it wasn't a true belief in the resurrection, and all of that stuff was false. It was so untrue. And when I started to take a look at it and studying so that I could convert my boyfriend at the time back to Protestantism, I converted myself. And it was this over a 2-year period of time. It wasn't like an overnight thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, I'm dating this guy. I think I'd like to marry him. Let me convert so that he'll marry me. Because I knew my husband now, Tim, was not going to convert back because he believed what he did. And so it was just my naivety coming out and thinking, oh, I can convert him back. If this God wants this, I'm sure he doesn't want him to be Catholic.
Well, and I think it's also a misunderstanding of a conversion experience too. You know, as an adult, Tim had examined faith so thoroughly. He had made a very big decision in coming into the church because he'd examined it.
Yes.
When you're born into a faith perspective, like cradle Catholics or Protestants or whatever faith perspective, you can know it inside and out, but you haven't had to make the choice to leave it.
Yes.
And so he had already done that.
Yes.
And so he was pretty well on his path and going to stay there. And so you kind of thought, oh yeah, I mean, if he jumped ship that easily, maybe he'll jump back. But that's not the case.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, there's not an understanding here of that the Catholic Church is the one true church. Come on, give me a break. But it, in fact, is. Obviously, it is. And anybody who looks at this, just the reality of it, and it just to me didn't make any sense after I did all this studying that I should remain a Protestant. Now, my family was a Sunday goers, Wednesday goers, Bible reading, Bible believing, Bible teaching, and Bible speaking family. And to the point of being a little bit legalistic about things. You know, no smoking, no drinking, my family never went to movies because going to see the good movies that are brought in supports the bad movies. In essence, I guess that was kind of true. But long story short, it just was those things that I felt like I was living a life based on rules that weren't definitely not from God, were based on the beliefs of the church that I was attending at the time. And I attended the same church all through from birth to when I moved to Nashville at 23. So it wasn't like a hopping church situation. It was the same Protestant beliefs. And some of those things I think were too legalistic, and they weren't what God wanted for me. Certainly not for other people. And it wasn't like, wow, we're making these decisions and these choices based on what God wants for us. I'm not saying that didn't talk about that, but for me, it wasn't like that. I had a conversation with my pastor from that time in my life, who was kind of like a second father to me at the time. And just recently, he and I got to talking about, why did you become Catholic? And I'm like, well, he said, do you feel like you're getting more faith, better faith from Catholicism? And I'm like, I feel like it is more complete. I remember standing at my confirmation at the Easter Vigil in 1998 under Monsignor Ingham, and remember standing there facing the people and feeling this unbelievable calmness and peace. And I felt the Holy Spirit say to me, you are home. You are finally home. And you have the complete faith. Where you had faith before, it's just now full. And it was just, I get chills talking about it because it's just exactly what I felt at that moment, an utter peace. And it was not easy on my family.
Right. As often as it isn't, as... so in my world, in my world, I serve as a DRE, Director of Religious Ed. And so I'm very familiar with our National Directory of Catechesis and our instruction on our new OCIA. It's not all that new. It's just an update of language. But an OCIA, that is one thing that they instruct the catechist to understand and to be able to talk with our catechumen and candidates about is there does come a point where relationships will strain in this process. We are called to
Step away from those people and separate. It will, like you said, it does cause a separation sometimes, and we're supposed to choose him, even if we have to turn our backs on some of our beliefs because of who they are with and where they come from.
Yeah. I believe Jesus also had something to say about that, about who is my mother and my father, who and my brothers. That we will have to make choices about what is right and what is true, and that will cause division at times.
Absolutely.
So with your family of origin, though, Staci, so 1998, I'm not doing math very well, but we're coming up on, 30 years, 40 years?
No.
30 years.
Coming up, I think this year, this year was 28.
Yeah. So we're coming up on 30 years. And so there's been time to heal division and wounds and the struggle that might have been felt in a decidedly Protestant family when you became Catholic. How did you heal?
By the grace of God and the Catholic family that I had in place. And, both of my parents have now passed on. And the one thing I think of, and I really feel like God has told me this, is that they have now celebrated the Catholic Mass. They came to Mass with us when they would come to visit, but they never celebrated it. And now in praying that they're in heaven and in the presence of God, they are celebrating the Mass. And they know what's the truth now. They know the full truth.
The fullness, yeah.
The fullness, yes, absolutely. I do have a couple of siblings that are still Protestant and never really push back on it a huge amount. And then I have one that did push back. And they're probably praying for me today and thankfully.
We need all the prayer we can get. Yes.
Pray for me. But not for the reasons that you and I would be praying for somebody for. But so it did take time. There were some questions. The big question was Mary.
Yeah.
And when I got to the point where it's like, I looked at all of these things that the Catholic Church teaches. If Mary was my only big reticence, only big pause, but I believed everything that the Catholic Church teaches. I believed in the magisterium.
Yeah.
that was key. That's when I'm like, okay, this understanding, belief, and practice of Mary will come with the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't turn my back on everything else that the magisterium says because I don't understand this fully, this piece. So, and that pieces have still come to me. You know, obviously hopefully you are still studying.
Mm-hmm.
I still listen to the catechism in a year.
Yeah, absolutely. Multiple times.
Multiple
years.
Yes, I'm on like year, I think 3. I think I'm on year 3. But there's always something we can learn. And when you start saying, oh, there's nothing else, I know everything, that's when you need somebody to knock you in the head because it's not truth.
Yeah. So one of the things that Father David said in Mass this past Saturday night at the Saturday Vigil Mass, since this will air later, but it was Trinity Sunday, he was talking about the mystery of the Trinity. And it's incomprehensible to be able to wrap our whole minds, our whole arms around the fullness of who God is at his very being.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that he also said, but God is also simple.
Yes.
And that God is always love. God is always good. God is always going to exist as Trinity. God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. There's a simplicity in that you and I don't have.
Right.
As humans, we're pretty complex and duplicitous, and we change ourselves all the time. And I have purple hair today, and I didn't yesterday. I'm just kidding. No, I don't. But, you know, we make those kinds of changes. But then the other thing that he said was around these kinds of things that we don't understand, these mysteries that we have. And I'd never thought of it this way because oftentimes we'll say, well, we'll know it all when we get to heaven, right? He said, no, you won't even be able to fully comprehend the mystery of the Trinity when you get to heaven because it's a mystery and you're not on God's insides.
Yes.
And I'm like, that makes so much sense to me because I'm not on Staci's insides. I know and love Staci, but I'll never fully know Staci, right?
Yes.
But what he was saying is with God, it's so incomprehensible because he is so infinite and we are so finite.
Yes.
That we cannot fully comprehend it, but we can sit with it.
Yes.
We can know it and love it in relationship. And then he launched in this incredible homily on contemplative prayer and St. Teresa of Avila. It was fantastic. But
yeah, you should go to YouTube and watch his
I know,
homily
that
over
homily
again.
was fantastic.
It was great.
But yeah, so there are always going to be things that we don't understand when we're exploring our Catholic faith. But there is that trust. I think we've had a guest before that kind of talked about it. Like, look, I knew I wasn't going to figure all of this out, but if I figured out that I believed that the Pope was the vicar of Christ, he was in place because God put him there, and that the magisterium of the Church is responsible for passing on this deposit of faith and teaching us, if we trust that, then the rest will come.
Right.
The rest will come. Oh. Well, as you continue to build relationship with your family, you know, they're almost 30 years later, have there been moments of witness though in that, and just being true to your faith, not capitulating to make them feel more comfortable, to make them, because we all do this, you know, depending on our context.
Sure.
We want to be more palatable to the people around us, and we want them to feel comfortable with us. And there is the temptation to kind of sweep things under the rug or quiet down this part of my faith or not make such a big deal about this. And I'm sure Mary is still a rub. How do you deal with those kinds of things with your family?
Well, I mean, all of our children were baptized. All of our children have taken their first communion, have been confirmed. So there was always those moments where I was like, oh, we're going to celebrate this. Both sides of our family, because obviously going back, my in-laws are, however, not Catholic either.
Right.
So we would invite them to events that we knew were fully Catholic. And we just felt like, you know, they could choose whether they wanted to come or not. But we wanted to be that witness, that we understood that the simple act of baptizing your child was way more than just a dipping or a covering. It was different. Somebody talked to me about this the other day, or it was something I heard on the radio about that Protestants believe that God's grace is a covering
Yeah.
on top of our black sin. And in which case it is not. It is a complete wash of our sin.
Yeah.
And so it was things like that, like getting our children baptized, by having their first communion and their first confession. And it was just those little things to us that were part of our faith that I think continued to speak about our faith and why we believe that way. Also, during holidays, it always made it hard, but we always made it a priority to go to Catholic Mass. They were invited to go with us, whether they did or not. That was their decision. And both sides of our families have experienced the Mass. Obviously, our wedding was the first time, and there were questions about the Eucharist and about why do you believe it's his body and blood, and why can't we receive? And so there's great questions that came up, and I would love to talk to you further about that. And tell you why I believe that way and why I believe God is leading us in that direction. So it was just little moments over the time. And the fact that when they go to the beach with the family, we would go to Mass on Sunday. They never went to church.
Yeah, it's kind of your vacation
beach.
from
they're like, why are you
when
going to church? It's like, well, we have this love and this need to be with him. It doesn't matter if we're at the beach.
Yeah. And it's a sin not to go, so
it is a sin not to go. So yes, there is that. the fear of God.
Yeah. Even if we're going to beach Mass, that's not our normal Mass, and it's not our preference. So, Jesus is there. We're going to see him.
Absolutely.
Today's his day.
And it's a witness to the people at that Mass, as well as the people that you're with that aren't Catholic.
Yeah, you're right.
The only time that you really do have a dispensation, I understand, tell me if I'm wrong, is when you are traveling, you cannot get to Mass.
Yeah, if
you're driving, don't tell me you can't look up CatholicMass.org.
I know. Masstimes.org.
That Mass Times, I always do it wrong.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We just want everybody to know on the radio right now, pull over, masstimes.org, and you can find a Mass near you right now.
And if you can't drive 15 minutes out of the way and go to Mass, I don't know what to say to that, because it's not something we do. We plan, if we have a vacation, we plan around it. And
oftentimes you're just so blessed to be able to go to Mass in a different context and to see all of the different beautiful churches that are all across our nation now, which is just wonderful. I mean, even in Raleigh, you could be a tourist in your own city and be able to experience the beauty of the Mass in all of these different contexts and the expression of faith from this particular community.
Right.
It's a joy to be able to do that. If you can get outside of your preferences and, say, oh, well, I don't like where their tabernacle is. I don't like where, the music that they use.
Right.
God doesn't care about our preferences in that situation. No. We're there to see Jesus.
And there are so many churches out there that you can, if you want to, pick. Oh, okay, I like the way this is set up. It looks like it's more traditional. Or maybe it's
absolutely
more
well, and that's why we settle where we settle.
Well, that's why we're called Catholic.
Yeah.
It's universal. So exactly, it's Don't use traveling as an excuse. That's always been something that we have.
And it is a witness to those around us when it's a priority. So it might be we're on vacation, or it might be that we've got 4 boys in travel hockey.
Yeah,
and the witness that our Catholic hockey families have, when they are traveling and they've got crazy schedules for tournaments, but they're getting to Mass.
Right.
And they're taking time away from their team to go get to Mass. That's a huge witness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I know also the experience of walking through relationships with families. So I think it's something that we all, especially those who've come into the church, have experienced, this kind of rub, if not total breakdown.
Right.
And your witness of just continuing to show up and live your faith, not capitulate in the situation, but just say, no, this is significant to us. If it's significant to me when I'm in my home and in my house and in my city, then it's important everywhere.
Yeah.
So whether I've traveled home, to home, to be with family for Christmas, it's important now.
Right.
Whether I've gone to this place, it's important now.
Right.
The way that I believe I should rightly worship God is how I should rightly worship God in all contexts.
Yes. It's true.
So speaking of the Eucharist, because I love that you brought that up, in the context of your wedding, of families coming to baptisms, First Holy Communions, inviting them if they did choose to come, that question does come up of, why can't I receive the Eucharist?
Yeah.
And at least at St. Luke's, and I think in most parishes, there'll be sometimes, especially if it's a funeral or a wedding or something, there'll be something written in the worship aid to kind of explain in a really beautiful, grace-filled way that there is a difference in our understanding of what exactly is happening right here.
Right.
And I have found some Protestants will say, well, I do believe that that's Jesus' body and blood, soul and divinity. And it's like, great.
See you at St.
I will
Luke's.
sign you up for OCIA because we will get you confirmed as soon as possible.
Yes.
Because there is, I think, also, and it happens in every faith perspective, there is a gradation of catechesis in that some people understand their faith differently than the way that their denominational preference actually teaches it.
Right.
And so I think clarity in this is what we believe, and us being able to express that, especially around the Eucharist, is so important. So in your faith journey of figuring out, oh, I believe that, oh, I believe that, oh, I believe that, when you came to the Eucharist, what was that process of, okay, I was never taught that this is literally, substantially Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then after understanding that, what was the impetus to get you into the church as quickly as possible for you internally?
Well, I did not do an entire year of at that time, RCIA.
Yeah.
Because of my faith journey, because of the basis that I had of understanding of.
Which we thank your parents for, don't we?
Exactly. Absolutely. So, yeah, I think it was just looking at it and going, you know what? It's a miracle. And realizing that I believed in the virginal birth. And if I could believe in that miracle, why can't I believe that this is actually his body and blood? That happens on that altar every week.
When he says it quite literally in the scriptures. Yeah.
Yes. And why aren't we on our hands and knees saying over and we say, oh, we're not worthy. But we aren't.
Yeah.
We are not worthy. And his covering, his cleaning of us in his body and blood is just something that I'm like, it's a miracle. I can't explain it to you.
Yeah.
It's a miracle that any of us are here. You know, when a baby is born, that baby goes from depending entirely on his mother to seconds of relying completely on his own. And there's no way you can tell me that God isn't in that. And if God is in that, and God was in the virginal birth, and God was in the resurrection, why would I not believe that he is the body and blood, soul and divinity every week at Mass?
Every day.
Every day.
You know, you can go every day.
Those of us that can, for those that can go every day, yes.
Every day all over the world. Yeah.
Every Mass.
Yeah.
And he's the same, as you said before, today, tomorrow, and forever. That is not ever going to change. And how can I not believe that he's there?
Yeah.
With everything else, looking at all the facts. And I don't have to know all the facts, and I don't have to, have all this understanding because, like you said, we are simple. Some of us, myself, are very simple. So the intellectual part of it doesn't always click, and that's okay. I don't have to understand it all. But knowing that he's there at Mass, every Mass, whether it's here, France, Italy, Germany, it doesn't matter. He's there and he's the same. And it's his body and blood that we are consuming. And remember that when you go back to your seat.
And when you walk out.
And when you walk out.
When you carry him out into the world.
Because we're going to get attacked.
Yeah.
Because if you're living your life right, you will be attacked. And you have to look at that Satan is just waiting.
Yeah.
So if you're not feeling like you're being attacked or you're being discouraged by stuff in the world, you're doing something wrong.
Or you're just not paying attention.
You're not paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he's going to try to trip you up. Perfect example is this morning.
Yeah.
When I woke up with a migraine, and I knew why I woke up with a migraine.
Yeah.
And my husband's like, "Are you going to be able to go?" I said, "I am going because I know that he doesn't want me to be there. He doesn't want me to go and say, I believe in everything that the Catholic Church teaches. And that's why I'm Catholic. Mm-hmm. And I want to be with him in glory. I want to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. And the family that I have gained from becoming Catholic I can't even describe it. Mm-hmm. I can't. Almost 30 years, and those are some of my best friends.
Yeah. And
godparents to my children.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it took me a little bit. I had that basic belief because I had Catholic school to tell me, like, hey, transubstantiation. I almost took it for granted that was the case. But it was more at understanding that there had to also be a heart transformation as well. That intellectually, yes, I can assent to this, but my heart has to assent to this. And once your heart assents, then I'm unfaithful if I go anywhere else. Right. If I know that Jesus is there, and I choose to go elsewhere, I'm being unfaithful.
Yeah.
And so that moment of first reception after your confirmation, when you already told us you had such peace at confirmation, and then you received him in the Eucharist.
Yes.
I mean, tell us about that. I mean, you cried, obviously, but in that moment, you took all of him with you. Yeah. Out into your life and out into the world. Yes. And then you could come back and be nurtured again and again and again.
Again and again and again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a moment that I don't take for granted. Mm-hmm. It was just unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Like I said, it was a peace that I was finally home. Yeah. That even though I didn't know I had wandered from home, I was home. Yeah.
Well, and I think you and I have a similar experience in that, you didn't know why, and you didn't realize that you felt like a square peg in a round hole, trying to fit.
Sure.
The faith that you have, the relationship that you already have with Jesus into this particular context. And there were points of friction and there were rubs along the way. And so coming into the Catholic Church, finally feeling like you fit.
Right.
And like there is a place, even if I don't know it, if I can't tell you this particular point of doctrine or piece of theology, there's a place I can go that I can trust that is going to help me understand it myself, but also articulate it to you. I mean, there's finally a place where we trust, where we can just be who God made us to be. We can be the daughters that he adopted us as. In our Protestant baptisms, right, exactly. We became daughters then.
Yes.
When we were baptized in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, he started it. He gave us that Holy Spirit then.
Yes.
But he brought it to completion in our confirmation and brought it into absolute fullness when we're able to be in communion with him in the Eucharist.
Yeah.
And then he sent us out. And so instead of converting your husband, you
converted myself.
You converted yourself. How many others? Have you had others that have just met you along the way, friends, could be family, that you were able to plant seeds of faith? Not necessarily they've come into the church already, but how many others can you imagine that you have just put these little seeds in the ground along the way?
I don't know. I hope that I have. I know there's not a ton of people that I grew up with that were Protestant friends that, because I'm not around them, that know that I converted to Catholicism. But I'm welcome the questions.
Yeah.
Part of it's not an easy question.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not an easy question because they're like, well, why? I don't understand. Why would you choose this? You can't understand it. I can't explain it, but it's a completion. Like you said, it was that last puzzle piece that went down on the board. I have a litany of people that I pray for right now. And I just pray that those that have walked away from God realize that he is the only piece to the puzzle that will ever complete it.
Yeah.
And that they find that sooner than later.
Yeah.
Because that's the only answer when we search for some questions that it's like, why do I feel this way? Or why can't I do this? Or why can't I do that? And if you're not relying on him to help you do those things, to choose when you have a baby with his decision of what's right for your family in accordance with the Catholic teaching, I can't give him all parts of my life and say, you can't have that one piece. I personally have to give him all of it.
Because in the Eucharist, he gave you all of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to accept the pain that's going to come.
Yeah.
Because there will be pain. He's not promising us
that.
That's right. He says it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Are you able to drink the chalice that I am to drink?
Yeah.
Yes, I hope I am at that last hour. But I'm praying every day for the grace and the perseverance to continue to search for him in that.
Well, I know you very well, Staci. And I know that anybody who meets you will quickly come to find out that Staci is Staci, no matter the context. And so I know you are out there living your faith and dropping those seeds. You don't shy away from the truth, and I love that about you. You don't shy away from the hard truths, because there are a lot of hard truths in faith. There are a lot of hard pills to swallow when our culture around us tells us we can have it our way. We can do whatever we want.
You can be whoever you want or whatever you want.
Yeah. And your witness is one that I'm grateful for. I'm also grateful for your friendship. Really,
I'm thankful for yours too, Lydia.
You were one of the first people who just gobbled me up because I needed friends and I needed community. And I'm so grateful that you did. Thank you for coming and sharing your story on the show rather than sitting with the headphones on the other side of the table.
Listening.
I'm glad to have you on the other side of the mic this time to be able to tell that story, because what Jesus does for us in the Eucharist is he gives himself completely to us every time.
Yes.
And the stories that we have because of that, stories of redemption and of hope and of new and beautiful life and new and beautiful family and friends in our Catholic faith. This is that little taste of the kingdom right here and right now that we will one day experience in heaven. So thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Well, it's my one get off easy pass, because I can't ask you to do it again. But I knew it would be a great interview. I love that you had it in your little Staci head that you were going to convert Tim, and there you go. Now you're Catholic.
And anyone who knows Tim would be like, I can see where this is going.
Yeah, good luck. Well, as you are part of this, thank you to our wonderful production team here at Divine Mercy Radio. You can listen to this episode again or previous episodes of Come to Me, in addition to all of our local programming on our website at DivineMercyRadio.org/local programs. You can listen anytime on the free Divine Mercy Radio NC app or on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Come to Me. I'm Lydia Tatum, and until next time, Jesus in the most blessed sacrament, hear our prayer.